this computer, because I know there are people who want to be in this session but are not able to be here. So I think we should just start with introducing ourselves. So at the top of the list, it's Earl, and he is here. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Earl?
Well, I am Earl Legleiter, and I am the science director at Fort Hays State University, science education director at Fort Hays State University. I also am a modeling workshop leader, sometimes.
And past president of AMTA.
Where is Fort Hays University?
In Western Kansas. And I did workshops in Michigan. I haven't done any in Massachusetts. So I do workshops all over.
Yes, wherever there's a need. Okay, I don't think Kara is here yet. Chris popped in right on cue, Chris. Wow.
Cool.
Like
Nice.
you do it. I know.
That's timing.
I know. Okay, so just go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Chris. I'm from New Jersey. I've been doing modeling biology for a while now. And New Jersey's been like NGSS aligned for a little while now. So when I saw the email come through, I was like, oh, that seems interesting. Be cool to be part of the conversation. So nice to meet you all.
Good.
Hi, Chris.
Hi.
Where in New Jersey are you from?
Montgomery. It's where I teach. So that's like in between. It's just north of Princeton.
Is it near Mickleton?
I don't know, actually.
Okay, no worries then.
It's in the middle. It's like central Jersey.
Okay, so it's not like near Cherry Hill or like.
Oh no, yeah, that's further south. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
okay.
about an hour south.
I see.
Excuse me, I think we can keep the introduction shorter by simply stating where we're from, and because I have to leave at 6 o'clock my time. And so let's move on.
Okay.
Sorry, I hate to be rude, but I am sometimes. Judy.
Judy Stuckey. I teach physics in Omaha, Nebraska at a small public district.
Lee is not here, I think. Janelle is not here. Melissa isn't. Fawn is not. And if you're there, I can only see a few people. Just let me know. Ariel is here.
Of course, where else would I be? Hi, everyone. I'm Ariel Sirkin. I am a chemistry teacher in Massachusetts, not to the greater Boston area, actually right next to Foxborough, Massachusetts, where the New England Patriots play, if you are a football fan. And I'm a chemistry, leader and host, and we're running, I think, hope to run 5 workshops in the greater Boston area this summer.
And Tanea?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. Well, you already wrote my info down. I'm a biology teacher in Phoenix, Arizona. Co-leading a biology modeling workshop this summer and then also last summer.
Laura?
Hi, modeling workshop leader in Michigan. Probably enough.
And Michigan is NGSS, correct?
Yes, yes. So I have been working with another teacher who works with me who used to work with Jim Minstrel, and we're working together. She's much more of an expert in NGSS, and we've been kind of blending her knowledge of NGSS with my knowledge of modeling.
Great. Okay, I didn't see Colleen yet. Colleen in here? No? Bill, you're up.
Hey there, Bill Thornburg, Executive Officer AMTA, former biology and chemistry teacher, and I live in Louisville, just outside Louisville, Kentucky.
And I am Wendy, and I'm the workshop coordinator. And I'm in Arizona, where we are working on the Arizona science standards, which of course are not called NGSS because that would be too easy. They really are the same. So we have had conversations about the alignment for NGSS for a while. I really think it would be a selling point for the modeling workshops, which is what I do. I'm a workshop coordinator, so I'd like to sell them. And there's so many people who ask, you know, do you have a document? Do you have an alignment? No, kind of, sort of. Everything is, well, modeling instruction, of course, is NGSS, but we need to have it on paper. We need to have something that we can share with people. I'm familiar with modeling instruction, schools who want to implement modeling instruction, so we have to have something on paper. And that's at least my goal for this meeting. So that said, I don't know how, so who wants to take on the conversation? Who wants to start the conversation about your goals? What do you already have? And how we want to work on getting everything aligned? Anybody?
Well, I would say definitely in the middle school realm, I think we are starting like pretty much from scratch. There is a document that I have from 2014, and that is the most recent document that I've seen that has any sort of attempt at aligning the NGSS standards to any of those activities. So I don't know if there's anything more recent than that. So that's where we are in the middle school level.
Is that a gigantic Excel spreadsheet?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
In New Jersey, we've been doing a lot of work with like AP and sort of honors level curriculum developments. And so we actually wrote a curriculum for that a bunch of years ago, and we do have it aligned to NGSS already. I'm just looking for the table. We have it in a big table right now. And we broke it up by the different, the 3 dimensions, the DCIs, cross-cutting concepts, SEPs, and then sort of made a big matrix by unit as to where each thing ended up coming up, where each of those different aspects came up in our different units. So I could try and copy and paste that if that's helpful. I don't know if that'd be a good template to use or not, but that's sort of what we found useful in New Jersey.
In Nebraska, we can't call it NGSS, and we're just in our 2nd year of basically the new Nebraska standards, which are modified NGSS, and my district has spent no time or money on converting to NGSS yet.
Oh, wow, yeah.
In Massachusetts, we have our own version because Massachusetts takes everything and we need to make it more complicated because we think we're better than everybody else. We might be. But a couple years ago, so it's pretty much NGSS with just additional stuff. We have some additional ones. So a couple years ago, I threw together a spreadsheet that went through the chemistry curriculum. And what I saw, I just did it on my own. It wasn't anything fancy, just linked it to the alignment within with the Massachusetts standards, which again are very much the same as NGSS with just some additions that I personally didn't see, that I just didn't pay attention to. So like there was a couple MA standards. And I've shared that on the listserv, well, the chemistry listserv at least, and then whoever else had asked in the past for it. And I know that Colleen had shared with us, whoever had been working on this beautiful document, this giant spreadsheet. So there's that as well.
Wendy, is there a way I can copy and paste into the doc? I think it's read only right now.
I'll see if I can.
Or view only.
Oh, I thought I made it. Can edit.
So what we've been working on here, my teacher partner and I have been working on putting together phenomenon that go along with the physics materials. And then also there's places where we feel like there's maybe some gaps in the modeling physics curriculum. There are some things that in the past when I just did pure modeling, I maybe assumed that students knew like the force concept, and so we've done a lot more work on developing some of the concept things that are not developed as well in the modeling physics, such as like what is a force or what is a field. The forces and the fields are two areas that we have been more explicitly having the students develop a mental model surrounding. So I guess rather than like aligning with the standards, we've been working more on the actual like classroom activities that might be more NGSS friendly.
Oh, this is what you put in, Chris?
Yeah, so this is from the work we did in New Jersey. And this is basically all our units. And we just have we have it split up into DCIs. And then if you scroll down a little bit more, there's the SEPs. And then if you keep going, there's the cross-cutting concepts. And so we just kind of broke it out into our units and then just put an X where within each unit, put an X where that particular standard showed up. Like, so if it was in unit 4 or unit 3 or whichever. So it kind of made a big matrix.
I'm sorry, so what's at the top then? Like what's at the very top? Like where you're putting the X's?
The
like,
units.
The units are on the
The
side.
units.
Right?
So the units are up on the top. So they go across the top.
I see, and your standards are on the left. Okay, I'm sorry, your
Yep,
standards.
and then the standards are down the left. And
Got it.
then, so we did, New Jersey's kind of fortunate because we've been under NGSS for a good 4 or 5 years now. I think it's been about that long. And so I did a lot of training at Rutgers for NGSS initially, and then just kind of folded it into the modeling curricula that we came up with for AP and honors.
And this is what you wanted to do too, Bill, isn't it?
That's pretty similar to the thought I had. It would be nice to have a consistent template for each discipline. And if you try to create something that included all 3 domains, I think it would get very ugly very quickly and be very overwhelming. So I think separating it like this into each domain or each dimension, and really, to be honest, this is pretty detailed. Initially, I just wanted to get it off the ground and just make it a very readable thing for teachers, especially those that are novice with working with these standards.
So this is what we have as sort of within our overarching document, and then within each of the lessons, we have it mapped out to the particular standards and stuff.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That looks good. Yeah, and I received a copy that I'm not supposed to have from a local school district, and of course I planned to scan it in, but I didn't. But let's see if I can show this to you. Probably not. Let's see if I can find myself. No. Yeah, I'll scan it in. Probably, yeah.
So on the phone right now, let's see. So Ariel is chemistry. Chris, you're primarily what subject?
I'm biology.
Bio, and then Nell's middle school. And Laura, what about you? Physics?
Yeah.
So
I'm physics.
we have most everything covered. Does a template like this, is this doable? Is this what you envisioned? Something not this exact thing, but something similar to this.
Yeah, I was hoping to work on something like that this summer with our standards.
It's doable, but I think it would be really helpful if for the like whatever material you're doing, like if you're doing a particular worksheet or you're trying to introduce the beginning of the unit, whatever you're doing, if you know how that, what standard that particular activity that you're doing that day matches up with. Because some teachers are required to post that stuff on the board.
Yeah.
So that document is helpful, but also being more specific and saying, hey, this particular worksheet or this activity or this lab is also meeting these standards as well.
Yeah, that's one of the challenges we had when we were writing this. Is there's a couple different levels you can look at it at, or sort of pixel levels you can look at it at, and so we just kind of ended up doing both. So on the daily lesson plans, we have the specific ones,
right,
which I think is helpful especially if you have to submit or something like that to a supervisor, or you have to know off the top of your head, like you said, on the board. And then we thought it would be helpful to kind of, at least for us, when we were looking at the entire year after we were done creating everything, to see where different units kind of fell, as sort of a 1,000-foot view of everything.
So then, Chris, just so that I understand, you have then a separate document that outlines the specific lessons and the standards that they are related to as well.
Yeah, we do.
Aside from this one.
Aside from this one, yeah. Yeah, so in
and
the lessons that...
Chantel Dooley also has a document like that too. That had been started for the biology materials as well.
Yeah, they worked on that last summer. So, Chris, was this primarily you or a group of teachers working on this document?
So it was me and now two of my colleagues that are working on this that are also doing modeling. And then the three of us have led different workshops and stuff in New York City through STEM Teachers NYC. And so we've used these materials in some of those workshops. And so there's a group of us on the East Coast that have at least been exposed to this.
How long do you think it took you to do this?
This took a while. It took. You mean just the table or everything in total?
Yeah, I mean, even just, let's say, not the nitty gritty, but just this overview by unit.
This overview by unit took us a few hours one day. So it was over the summer. The three of us came in, we sat down, we looked at all the lessons, the individual lessons, created the table, kind of copy and pasted the different parts of it in, and then just went kind of unit 1, all right, so which ones are we hitting? Unit 2, which ones are we hitting? And we just filled it in that way. So it took us about a day.
Okay. That's doable.
One thing I think that's really important is that the standards are great, and aligning them like Chris has done, that's fantastic. If people borrow and steal such things, that's great. The thing that I really need to communicate in my workshops is how modeling instruction, the pedagogical approach, is basically the best thing to transitioning teachers to next generation science standard pedagogical approach in terms of what's intended by the new standards. And I think alignment is great, and I think it's absolutely necessary. But I think, at least in my workshops, what I want to be able to do is to communicate that when you're doing modeling instruction, you are doing NGSS instruction. They are compatible and basically the same thing. more or less. I think people would disagree with that. But you know, in workshops that I'm scheduled to do this summer, they're asking me, well, how is modeling like 3D teaching and learning? And that's kind of what I'm after.
Earl, there's a great, I don't know if you've seen it on the NGSS website. There's a great documents that I've given to my administrators and parents that kind of, it's a table that has a side-by-side view of what teaching used to look like and what teaching will look like now under NGSS. And NGSS created it, and everything that's on that list pedagogically is what modeling is. I don't know if you've seen that document before.
Okay, that's on the NGSS website.
Yeah, let me see if I could find it.
Okay. Now, one thing you see in NSTA and also like Achieve is they have sample lessons that you can go, you know, videos of this is what NGSS looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at some of those lessons compared to modeling instruction, they're rather shallow, you know, in terms of what students are doing in an NGSS classroom versus what they're doing in a modeling classroom. And I think modeling probably reaches the new standards better than what some of the videos I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we need to communicate that. How do we let the public know that?
There was Jane Jackson just shared a quote the other day. Wendy, do you remember who that was from? It was the lady that was in charge of creating the framework in that, or the early work on NGSS.
Yeah, I saw that.
She basically said, like, yeah, like she told David Hesnes, like, yeah, we use modeling instruction as
right. That was Helen Quinn from Stanford University.
Helen Quinn. Yeah.
Right. And I think the new standards are what they are, largely because conversations that Helen had with David Hesnes.
Yeah.
You know, because those conversations, modeling was included in the new standards as a science and engineering practice. And of course, other of the science and engineering practices are directly connected to modeling, or to the modeling. There is a NSTA video that was done by Cindy Passmore on modeling instruction. And I don't know if she's connected to AMTA in any way, or if she knows anything about modeling instruction from Arizona State University, but she makes a very strong case about how if you are developing and using models, you're basically using all of the various science and engineering practices. And those are the kinds of things we need to communicate to the public. You know,
something I've found. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And of course, that's what I intend to do in my summer workshops. And I think people who experience a workshop kind of see that, yeah, this is what NGSS is all about.
So something that's come up in my workshops to kind of go along with that is there is a difference, just to be aware, there's a difference in definition of what a model is.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that NGSS defines a model is very different. And oftentimes teachers that are in the workshops that I've led, they have trouble because they kind of have both models. And then with modeling instruction, we're not really talking about the model that as NGSS defines it, but more of the conceptual model that we're trying to construct. And so there's some tension, a little bit of tension there. And I just kind of, something I've found helpful is just flat out say there's two different definitions.
Right.
And so when you're talking NGSS, you're talking representations. When you're talking modeling instruction, you're talking about the conceptual model.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's an important difference. And of course, one takes the idea of modeling to a greater depth.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, because a model could be something like an anatomical model that a biology teacher might have in the classroom. And that's an important representation, but there are other types of representation. You know, so you know, teachers could assign students to build a model of a cell. They could build a model of an atom. You know, and those are things that have been done for a long time. But they're not the same thing as modeling as we know it in modeling.
Exactly.
So for me, that's the problem. And you know, the alignment, Chris, that you did is great, and I've seen others like that. But what I think what we need to do is to communicate to the public how modeling is probably the closest thing to next generation science standard teaching that's out there.
Yeah, I think that's where that one doc that I'm thinking of would come in, would be helpful. I wish I could find that one doc.
Actually, Ariel just found it. She just posted it in the chat.
Yeah.
And that's the one.
Where's the? How do I get to the chat? Oh, there it is.
Look at
See,
the
like at the
bottom.
bottom.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
This
I
one?
think that's what you were referring to.
Yeah,
right?
that's the one.
Okay, got it. Oh, right. And I used to I hand this out in my workshops, and we talk about that. So thank you for reminding about that.
That's the one. So it sounds like there's sort of two levels, maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like there's two levels that we're talking at. One is how to articulate how modeling pedagogy actually addresses NGSS, the spirit of NGSS, the pedagogy that they want us to, that NGSS is trying to kind of spread. And then there's the other part. When I hear alignments, I hear, so where are the standards where are the standards in particular lessons or particular units?
Yeah.
Am I hearing those two things
I think
correctly?
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I'm wondering if, because I agree with you, Chris, we're seeing it from two levels. If one way that we can begin to address Earl's question is to look for readings, articles, etc., that either as workshop leaders that we add into the readings that we have our participants do that show this alignment, and that way we are being a little more consistent about building that into our conversations, having having a place on the website where we can I'll look there in a second. You know, I know there's some stuff about NGSS alignment, but having more resources. How does modeling instruction align with NGSS? And have those as resources so everybody can look there. So that addresses some of what Earl's talking about. And then at the same time, because some people like to get to the the nitty gritty, they want to say, okay, well, how exactly does this particular unit align? So begin with what Chris was starting to do, and then over time we can add for individual lessons, worksheets or whatever, to build it out that way. At least, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I'd like to have a spot. I mean, I'm looking at the website now to just figure out where it would go. I feel like we could put NGSS connections under professional development. I think we could put it under modeling works. I think there's a lot of easy places where we can fit that in for people that are just looking for it, and you know, even just starting with that NGSS document and kind of just pointing to what they want teaching to become and highlighting that that's what we do. is a good place to start.
I think that's a really good idea to get that stuff onto the website.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people that are exploring different curricula and how they might use that in their classrooms or their school districts or whatnot, if they're just exploring, like even before they are signing up to take a workshop, having that information readily available is going to help sell the workshops.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what Michigan did, Laura. I think a few years ago when they moved toward NGSS.
Yes.
And who is? Do you remember? You know Mike Gallagher, I'm sure.
Of course, yes.
Who really was helped to organize all those modeling workshops in Michigan to help transition folks to the new standards.
Yes.
And that was a great initiative. I don't know where it is, and I went to Michigan a few years ago to do a workshop there, and what Michigan was doing was right on, I think, and we just need that kind of commitment from other states, I think.
Yeah, I think though that selling it as the NGSS. Or at least as one of the NGSS solutions, because like I say, I still believe that there are some gaps. I mean, I don't think it's realistic to say, oh, yeah, maybe we're the best thing out there, but we still have gaps. If you look, our engineering design is non-existent, really.
Yeah,
We still have gaps that we could work on and make even better than what we have right now, which is exciting. And I think as we catalog everything and see where we're hitting standards and how, mapping the whole thing out, I think that's where we'll see areas that we're excellent in, because we are. But then there might be some areas that we're like, yeah, maybe our engineering design is really weak. Maybe we can beef that up. So
right.
I think it'll show us areas for growth and areas of strengths.
Which is what we need.
Right. Exactly.
So is this what for those of you that are on the call, and considering we have almost everything covered discipline-wise, is this do you feel like this is something you could undertake kind of on your own, or would you want to enlist a small group, but like a small teams to work on this? I am willing to compensate to kind of have a consistent template for that's being used by each discipline, and then to get this done because I do think it's important. And Wendy and I have been talking about this for the last year, and it's just trying to find a group of like you guys here, a group of dedicated professionals that want to put in some time on it. So I'll leave that up to you. If you think it's a job you want to undertake and do it by yourself, that's fine. But if you wanted to try to get a couple of people on board to help out, that's fine. Well, but I'd like to get this moving and complete.
When are you thinking you would like to have it complete? Because that might decide how many people need to be working on it.
I mean, is next Monday too early? I'm just kidding.
Not gonna happen, Bill.
I don't know. We're getting close to May.
Well, what's the goal? Are we trying to get this aligned before all the summer workshops?
If that could happen, that would be great. At the same time, we've gone this long without it. So what's a couple extra months? I don't think that that's going to hurt anything. I know that you guys, active teachers, you're very busy. So we're going to work within your time frame. Okay. But, earlier than later would, of course, be preferred.
And Bill, I have a question. I mean, I know from the middle school level, a lot of us middle school modelers are scattered all around the country. I mean, there's quite a few here that we have in Michigan, but, are you willing to bring in teams from other states together to work on it? Or would you prefer that, the team be Michigan based or, within a local area? If
Michigan wanted to take the lead, that would be fine. If you want, Wendy and I to, obviously, and I need to run out here and grab my charger. I'm going to die. Obviously, face-to-face is always preferred.
Right.
But if that's not possible, because, you know, maybe Tania's in Arizona and she's super excited about this and she wants to be a part of it, you know, Wendy and I can work with you guys to let you use Zoom to be able to at least be in the same room and seeing each other to work on this.
Okay.
So I think, I mean, I think whatever, you know, whatever we all want to do with it, we can do. I don't think we have the money to be flying people around.
Boy, Bill, come
would
on.
be such a great thing.
Man.
You mean you're not sending me to Hawaii to work with Aaron?
I already told her
Hawaii's
I'm
an
gonna come out
option?
and help with all the logistics
Yeah.
next summer.
So, Bill, I don't know about the schedule for the conference in July, but is there breakout time for people who are going? This seems like something that might be incorporated into the conference.
Yeah, so in general, it's like last year where there's going to be some formal presentations, but then some unconference sessions dedicated to specific topics. But we also are going to work in some like work group time. So this would be perfect for anybody that's there that wants to get together. There is a good couple hours dedicated to that. And we could probably do more if we knew that like a bunch of NGSS people were going to be there. We could just kind of say, you guys get together and go.
I can tell you from knowing both lists, there's very few people on the list and or in the call who will be at the conference. That doesn't mean that you cannot just, you know, we still can get more people in. So if you want to spend time with us, it's going to be July 20 to 21st in Naperville. You can be part of the group and you can meet everybody.
I'll be there. You should come.
Yep.
That is the same time as AAPT out in Utah.
Yeah.
I know, and that's
I'm going to AAPT in Utah, so.
It's the
Actually, I
same
have a
time as
workshop,
AP
workshop those
Summer
same days.
Institute, too.
I'll be on a family vacation, so I'm out.
I know it's tough to find a date that works for, the overlap with AAPT definitely is not helping.
it's a bigger, it takes more people away than we anticipated.
So, question. So, let's say we organize ourselves and we can figure out, okay, who's doing what and things like that, and we get it aligned. Just thinking the next step, would it make sense for us to come back together then again and take a look at the alignment to see where those gaps are? Like some folks were saying, before it gets released or shared or anything like that?
We could definitely do that. I mean, this could be an ad hoc committee for a while. And if you guys want to get back together, absolutely.
Because that to me, that makes some sense. And then also in terms of our timeline, if we're shooting for the summer to have some alignment, it would be good to know where our holes are before the summer. So I'm just trying to map out the timeline in my head.
Yeah. Well, others, while Chris is wrestling with that, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
I think I know for myself, I probably would not be able to commit any time to it until the summer. To actually like dig into the documents and the units and the activities just with the end of the year and then our workshop starting. Like I know that just even looking at all of the documents and all the activities would not realistically happen until the summer for me, like at the middle school level.
For me, it would be probably August when all the workshops are done, is when I'd have a moment to get to them.
Right.
I'm not committing any time yet. Right now I'm trying to get through the next couple of weeks. We all know that feeling. But so I get out of, I guess I'm like Chris in Jersey that, you know, I get out in mid-June of school. We get out early this year, June 14th. I'm so excited.
Oh, that's nice.
Bob,
no snow days.
your workshop about national standards.
But then I'm also have the workshops, the MTA conference and the ChemEd conference. There are no other chem people on here, which is very sad.
So
I can recruit them, don't worry.
so I have this list, and I can put I can add everybody's content area and email address. Let's see. Well, as far as chemistry goes, well, Janelle is chemistry. Karen Ladd is chemistry. Carol Lewis is doing different things. So I can make this, I can turn this into a table, have people's content area, or at least what I think is their content area, and an email address, so we can get started, so you can start contacting people. I can do that.
I know enough people that I can,
yes,
I can sucker them into doing something. I'll make something.
I could twist some arms, I think, for bio too.
Yeah.
I can
We need more
certainly
bio
try.
people.
I can certainly try for middle school as well.
I'm wondering if we can tackle this maybe in smaller tasks too. Like maybe by the end of June, we can have the units mapped out, like Chris just shared with us for biology, something basic like that, without going into every activity and aligning. Maybe we can kind of roll it out in stages, because it sounds like everybody's busy.
Yeah, Laura, that actually
I
is
agree.
They're easier.
that's what Earl and Wendy and I had talked about, you know, when Earl first posted this on the listserv, was at first we do just need general overview. And then I think adding more specific details, like very worksheet specific, activity specific detail, I think is eventually fine. But I think just at the beginning, the overview and getting that out to people would really make people happy. And then if we're able to kind of go stage 2 and in greater detail, then I think people will be really happy.
This is Lee. I don't really have the brain power right now to deal with this, but when it comes to crunching numbers, making things look pretty, anything like that, I can help out with that. If you look right here, I just added a spreadsheet that has all of the units below there with count. So if you click on that, you can see like how many times each standard is covered. Because that's what I always see. I love Jane Jackson's comment. No, we don't cover it, but addressed.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
So if there's folks who want, you know, how do we present this? I can definitely help with the presentation side.
I think if we could have a template in a Google Sheet form, it's the kind of thing that I can imagine myself having bits of time to work on a little bit at a time. And, you know, that if we have a whole bunch of people all adding to this Google form, as long as we're all in the same format, I can see that getting done relatively quickly with little bits at a time, which I think sounds easier to me than trying to get together 5 people on a Zoom meeting.
Yeah, that makes sense to me too. And my summer starts Memorial Day and ends August 1st. So, you know, I'll be more on the front end of stuff if we're finalizing the more details later on.
So it kind of sounds to me like we have a couple different goals, objectives, sort of thing. The first one, sort of the nearest, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just kind of trying to replay everything in my head. The first one seems to me like it's the kind of getting the general gist of how the pedagogy and everything is aligned to NGSS. That seems more doable, how the spirit of NGSS is really, you know, in line with modeling instruction. And then it sounds like the longer term would be to start to break out the units into break out the units and to break out to each dimension and start to kind of look at, all right, where is this standard coming up? Where is this standard coming up? Does that kind of summarize everything?
Yeah.
I think so.
I would agree.
Cool.
When
Thanks.
you-
That's just for, it's in my head. It helps me organize things.
Yeah.
So I guess then to follow up on what Chris is saying, we've been working on more step 2, which was looking at the disciplines and the quote alignment. We have not yet talked about a plan on pedagogy and finding those resources to show how what we're doing already is in line. So does that mean we should, are there actually published articles about that? I'm thinking about what we have. I'm thinking about, was it David and was it Brenda and Larry wrote an article that was not so long ago?
I think Erica wrote an article about NGSS and chemistry, didn't she? For ChemEdX?
Oh, I'm sure she did, and I know I write for ChemEdX as well, so I can also write one and just say we can add that to the link. I'll add that to my list of things, my list of articles that I'm writing for them. I'm doing one on whiteboarding actually, as a case for distributive cognition. Thanks, Colleen. Now that I'm thinking about that all the time. Hold on, I printed out. We have Jane Jackson, Jane, Larry, and David did modeling instruction and effective model for science education. That's published in the Science Educator. And we can just, I'm sure we can add that. Because
And how recent is that article?
Oh, why are you asking me the tough question?
You have it in your hand.
2008.
Okay. Okay, still 11 years old.
Yeah.
Well, I just did a quick Google search and modeling instruction in NGSS Lee Trempleasure.
Yes.
Is YouTube? Yeah. Yeah. I see a YouTube up there.
Okay.
It looks like a PowerPoint. I usually don't go to Google right away, but
Everyone else does, so
yeah.
NGSS was what first came out in 2013, and we're only six, for many states, 4 or 5 years in, and teachers still are struggling with it. People still don't know how you assess students based on the performance expectation. There's still a lot of questions. So I'm not overly concerned that there's nothing written about our connection with it, because it's still being studied. It's still very new. So maybe, we can start to recruit some people to think about articles in certain journals. Definitely anything NSTA published is a good place to start. So, Nell, that'd be Science Scope. And then for the high school teachers, the science teacher. And that's good because it's practitioner based, right? I mean, that's really who this is for. So any practitioner journal of science education would be really, really useful, but maybe not modeling instruction specific, but maybe just finding articles about NGSS where people are talking about problem solving, critical thinking, student discourse, and pulling those things in individually to basically package it and say, well, we do all of these things.
I can check some of the Rutgers material to see what they had, because they had a bunch of articles back when they were kind of rolling out NGSS in Jersey. So that might have some information.
Yeah.
Maybe would it be helpful to start a Google Doc, and as Yeah, and as each one of us finds things, we can start to put the reference with like what it is or something like that, brief.
Yeah, just a quick summary, maybe,
Yeah,
or how it could be useful. Yeah.
because I think that's going to take some time for us to dig through all our resources and find stuff, find things that might be helpful.
And I'll be gone most of the month of May for a PD trip to Asia. When I get back, I can kind of dig into that more, the lit review portion, trying to find some things that could be of use.
So then would it be good to set a date? Just throwing an idea out there. Would it be good to set a date a little bit later in May, and then we can kind of share out what we found and sort of our resources, or just thinking, or if it would be easier for some of us to come up with a rough draft and then kind of use the stuff that folks are posting on that doc as our sources.
Yeah, I mean, looking at your calendars, are you thinking like post Memorial Day, right before June?
That would work for me. Yeah.
Does everyone else have some availability? I mean, Wendy could create another doodle poll, so we don't have to do it now, but maybe just a quick glance and see if there's a couple days where maybe you'd be open.
Sure.
Sounds good to me.
Well, I have to go, and I really appreciate everyone stepping up to the plate like this, because it speaks volumes about the kind of teachers you are and the type of people you are. And I think we have an important task in front of us, and I appreciate your conversation tonight. But like I said, I have to go. Thanks very much. Bye.
Good night, Earl.
Bye.
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 Okay, so we'll try for maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday of that week. We'll try to, obviously stay away from Monday, and then we'll try to keep your Friday clear. And maybe we can find a good common date there.
Yep.
Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you all for coming and sharing. This is for Wendy and I. This is exciting because we get a lot of questions about this.
Yep.
Well, I think it's important work.
I do too. And I do want you, when you get started on this, I do want you to kind of keep a little bit of a log of what, an idea of how many hours you're putting in on it. And there was something else I was going to say, and it just slipped right out of my head. Like, I feel like Lee right now. I don't have the brain power.
I think we all feel the same.
Yeah, just kind of keep an informal log. And, and I was going to say, that was the other thing, is when this gets finished, I think sometimes people worry about credit. And I fully expect to, that you guys are listed as being the people that kind of spearheaded this and did this. So I think it's important that you get recognition for the work you do.
I'm just kind of thinking as we're talking here. I think one of the ways to get more recognition from the modeling instruction program is through that Achieve organization. They have a rubric for evaluating instructional materials.
Yeah.
And eventually, maybe our goal might be getting our materials evaluated with that rubric, because I think that is one way that you get more NGSS notoriety for your materials.
Yeah, but you know what? And Wendy and I have looked at that, and I agree. And one of the things before we submit to them is, you were talking earlier about gaps, is trying to figure out how to fill those gaps and strengthen everything before we put it out there. Because everybody got slammed this past year, except for like one or two organizations.
And just so that you know, one or two of those organizations that did make it through the program is my teaching partner, the woman that I said that I'm working with. She is one of the authors working on that interactions curriculum that did get the Achieve, I don't know, whatever their blessing is called. She and I, like I say, are working together. So I kind of feel like I'm picking her brain a lot about where some of our gaps are and what are some ideas for filling the gaps.
FYI, there is, NGSS has a rubric. I put it on the chat. It's called the Equip rubric. I think is that what Achieve uses to, I don't know what
Yes, the Equip rubric is their rubric. Yes.
Yeah, so that's one resource that we were sent to at Rutgers to evaluate our own lessons and units and stuff like that, to see if it's actually NGSS aligned or not. So I put the link in there if you want to take a look at it.
Okay. Yeah. Great.
Oh, wow.
Hey, any parting words? Wendy, you'll create a doodle poll for this group?
I will, and I'll share the notes and the recording with the people who were here and the people who were not here. And then in the same email, I'll just put in the doodle poll because now it's still fresh in our mind, so we can get the next things going.
Great. Great.
And
Okay, awesome.
Sign off. If you're a Twitter person and I don't follow you, now I know I totally follow you on Twitter, and I know Lee as well. So if anybody else so Judy or Chris or Laura, are you guys Twitter people as well? Yes.
Sometimes. I am on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm about the same. I don't do a lot.
I'm on Twitter, but in addition to my high school job, I also work as an adjunct at a university, and there is only so much social media I can fit into.
Yeah.
I teach full time. I tutor seven students, and I'm a single mom, active in my community. Yeah, you know how it is. Anyway, people ask me when I sleep. This is when I'm taking Colleen's class right now too. So this past week I was cooking for Passover during the class. I said, sorry, Colleen, you just have to have me. I made a double batch of macarons, tomato sauce for the homemade eggplant parm, roasted vegetables, baked a cake, and made apple kugel. And I think they're in roasted vegetables. That's what I do. Anyway, my Twitter handle's there if I don't know you. All I post is primarily about science education and modeling because that's my life.
Nerdy t-shirts.
What was that, Bill?
Nerdy t-shirts on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you all so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Everyone.
Bye.
All right, see ya.
Good night.